And good evening. How are you, Kristen?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm not bad. Just made it to the finish line. Good evening to all the plunkers out there joining us tonight. Welcome to the show, Plunk. This is the baseball podcast where we celebrate two teams, one magnificent city. And let's jump right in, Kristen. How's your life going? I feel like we took last week off, a lot of stuff going on.
Well,
What
it's
a,
covering sciatica is still sciaticing, getting ready
It
for a
was
fundraiser.
sciaticin.
Yes, it's still sciaticing on me and getting ready
Damn.
for a fundraiser, and that's about it.
While we're on here, let's talk a little bit more about that fundraiser for all of you that don't know. Kristen and a gentleman by the name of Hassan Liggins are the organizers and proprietors of an organization called Be the Miracle. It is a non-profit that aids in stopping violence in our communities as well as empowering our youth through scholarship programs and writing contests and all sorts of different outreach. Kristen, why don't you tell us about the yearly gala coming up September 25th?
Yes. Okay, so we have an annual. If you just repeat everything, annual like that's what Giambi does on Cubs broadcast. Uh, JD.
Now, so tell us, like you said everything.
Right. So
I was on a
uh,
roll.
we're honoring. So the fundraiser, of course, is to raise money for our programs. We have Be Empowered for young women, Man Up for young men. Emilio Bucks is actually one of the mentors on that. Be the
I
Scholar.
need a mentor.
You need a mentor. Okay. Be the Scholar is our scholarship program, and we have a new one. Be the Change is what we're offering. There's contests for small groups, classrooms, projects where they'll receive a small grant to for the projects, and the projects have to aim to improving the community. It can be through cleaning the community, something, a festival, something that they're going to do. And so we're raising money for that. And then what we do is we have music by Emilio Bucks. We have a live auction, raffles. Actually, Chicago Clubhouse Podcast was one of our donors this year. T. Nick and crew. And so we have some great prizes, and all the money goes towards that. We're also honoring people like former NBA star, Illini star, Kendall Gill is our platinum performer, so he'll be in attendance. We have some BTM Lifeline honorees, Reggie McGee, the Sandin family. They consistently provide funds and help us with reaching out to other people to support the program. And we're celebrating some of our Man Up Kings. Paulette Franklin, she's in charge of the Chi-Town Cheer and has a After School Matters program. And Sybil Holloway, she does Sib's Breakfast. She's like builds bridges, and she says her business is Black business. So she builds bridges for Black businesses in the city. It's hosted by Felicia Lawrence. She was formerly of the Jam on WCIU. Now she's a big time real estate investor. And so it'll be a good time.
That sounds like
All while
quite
waiting.
an affair.
Yeah.
All right, all right. Be the Miracle doing big things. It's all about empowerment of in particular, our Black and Latino youth in the city who are, obviously underprivileged, schools underfunded, but it's all love for everybody. We love to have everybody involved to just, hey, when one group wins, everybody wins. So it's time we all just get involved with that. So
Yeah.
good things would be the miracle. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kristen. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you. Our website, www.bethe-miracle.org. Check it out.
Can't forget the website.
I know.
Can't forget the website.
So
Well,
how have you been?
I have been good. I'm in a period of transition. I I sound like I'm in an airplane hangar here. I'm in a I'm in our new home that is fairly empty. Um, we threw out like pretty much all of our furniture. Uh, we said we're done with the all of our particle board stuff was all wobbly and
Oh, okay.
the pegs were breaking. So we were like, this stuff isn't even going to make the move.
Hmm.
So we're here in the house and, just trying to get settled in and got a lot of mini projects going on and that's it. Just life.
Congratulations.
And thank you very much. Appreciate that. And still paying attention to what's going on in the world of sports because again, that is always a nice reprieve from the stresses of our normal life, unless your normal life is playing professional football or baseball or something. But
Right.
let's talk about it because it's been, finally here we are heading towards October, and the Sox are finally the bigger story. It took all year, but being in first place since April to actually have the baseball juice in this city, just kind of by default, I guess. But so with that being said, there is still some cool stuff going on the north side with some of these young players that they have. At one point, won 7 straight games. I think after they got over that immediate jolt and shock of the band breaking up, I think you peel back all of the emotion and there's some guys here that's been waiting to have a chance to play, and some of these guys are taking advantage. Anybody in particular that you like out there uh, for the Cubs that you see as a possible player for next year? I'm not saying he's like going to be the star for next year,
All
but
right, but Schwindel,
Mr.
Frank,
Schwindel.
Frank the Tank, or
That's
Schwindy
right,
City.
Frankie, baby.
Cody Fewer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how you say his name. We got him from the
Yep,
Sox.
got him from the White Sox. Yep,
And
kind of miss him now, but
well, yeah, Nico Horner. I don't know which position he'll ultimately play. Right now, he's shortstop. Assuming they're not going to go get anyone else, I guess that's where he'll stay. But he also can play second and outfield, so he's versatile. And Nick Madrigal will be here next year if he's healthy.
mm-hmm.
And then there's some other pieces like outfielders that can fit if they, with good outfielders like Ortega.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have Wilson. Pitching staff, the starter, even the professor is.
The professor's he's flunking his own class.
Yes, he is, and he's like, "I'm not going to shut it down. You should."
Yeah.
Yeah. But those are the main ones. I like Wisdom's fine, but
mm-hmm.
he is what the Cubs brass says they're not trying to have anymore. He's all or nothing. So if you're really not trying to have an all or nothing hitter, then he's not going to work. Because I think he's hitting like 240, 230, something. Now he has 27 home runs.
27 homers, hit a 430-foot bomb today.
He broke the rookie record, but if we are to believe what the Cubs said.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's true. That was one of their issues with, and they lied about Brian. Brian's not an all or nothing, but Javi Baez and all that, they're looking for more contact. Well, that's not Patrick Wisdom. So
correct. He's kind of like he's a low budget Chris Bryant. Very low budget.
Very low. Now Schwindel seems to have both.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a Chris Bryant. He
mm-hmm.
can do both.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a little personality, so yes. I'm okay with him. Everybody else, I mean, I know Ian Happ's hitting now, but he'll be there. So
I mean, Ian and Hayward, we don't even need to.
Yeah, but I know Ian's gonna be there. But everybody else is. I am interested in seeing what they plan on doing. If it really is still just going to be a nothing until the couple of people that are now in AAA, I think that that mm-hmm. are good prospects. But I don't know anything about any good pitching coming up. So they're going to have to buy some pitching somewhere.
Exactly. And that's what I would expect them to do, is to go out and buy pitching, but you usually can't buy that until they see something happening
Yeah.
with the team. But I mean, I don't think they're not where they were in what 2000 and when did the last rebuild start? Like 13, somewhere
No, it was
over
before.
before that.
Yeah. They were pretty bad all the way. I mean, 2014 was when you saw there might have been, but then you also heard there was some people coming.
Right.
And so then 15 they were good, but it
Right. They
was
weren't ready yet,
so
but
wait, so what did they go? 2007 they went to the playoffs, I think, and then they
two
were bad
two-
after that.
2007 and 2008. They went
Wait,
back to
so
back
okay,
with
so it's
Lou
probably from
Piniella.
2009 or 10
Okay, because that's when
until
the Soriano
yeah.
era saga ended.
And then I think at that time, Castro came, and you
Hmm.
had Rizzo, so you had
Hmm.
core
Right,
at that time.
right.
But then they went through a lot of bad, and they had them on long, very team friendly
They
deals.
went through a lot of bad, and I guess my point is I don't see them going through that much
They
bad.
would be able to afford to.
Yeah, they won't be able to afford to, and I think where just like you said, well, the Cubs say they're not going to keep an all or nothing guy, but those all or nothing guys, they put asses in seats,
Yeah.
waiting to see if they're going to go all or nothing. I mean, just the threat of going all is enough to get fans in the seats. And I think Patrick Wisdom, I think he's worth holding on to
Oh yeah.
moving forward. Whether he's all or nothing or not, he's worth holding on to as just somebody again put asses in seats, some excitement. He seems to have some personality. Him and
Mhm.
Mr. Schwindel.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably their infield: Wisdom,
yeah,
Nico, Madrigal,
and
and
magical. Which
and
which is Wisdom's got a nice glove. I think.
I
What are
think
your
it's
thoughts?
okay. He's made
Yeah,
some
yeah.
here, but I mean, everybody
I mean,
makes
he's
it.
not great, but I mean, I
No,
think
yeah.
I think he's a strong.
As far as growth, like we're saying, no, go back to how they can't afford it. People just aren't going to stand for it. So
Exactly.
they have those four that are okay. Nico played really well this year, but we have to see if he can do it next year, and can he stay healthy?
That's
Because
the
he
that's the issue.
was up and
Yeah.
down, up and down. And
Hmm.
so, and I know a lot of people get injured, or can be injured and things like that. So hopefully he works on his soft tissue or whatever his issues may be.
Hmm.
And Madrigal's going to have to strengthen that hamstring, since that was, believe that was his issue.
Yeah.
Had to have surgery on it. So it's they don't, and then so they have to buy whatever they're really going to get. They can count on, they're going to count on those like Ed Howard, but he's a shortstop, so maybe he'll be
Hmm.
I don't know what they're going to do there. Maybe someone will move to third. And then the Brennan Davis, I forgot what position he plays, but I thought it was an infield. I could be wrong. He's like who everyone's waiting to see. And
Okay.
then you're like, you don't want them to do Brennan Davis the way they did Chris Bryant, because it was for nothing what they did with Chris Bryant. So,
Yeah.
they have some position, but their issue was going to be, and they're gonna have to buy, because they also don't have enough to even trade anywhere. So
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see if there are some up and coming pitchers that they can start buying.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, when it comes down to it, what the team is doing or what they're projected to do, money talks. You know what I mean? And at some point, I think these guys will open their pocketbook back up. And I don't think they wanted to open it or stretch it for those same guys. Obviously, you know what I mean. And so we'll kind of see. Like I think at the end of the day, it is a very attractive place to play.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like no matter how good or bad the team is, it's not. the White Sox. It's the Chicago Cubs. It is historic. The ballpark, the fans, like it's a very attractive place to play for a free agent. And
Mhm.
and people know the reputation of how fanatical we are about our athletes, and so I think they'll bounce back sooner than
And
later.
Brennan Davis is a center fielder, so that solves
Okay,
that
so
problem.
that solves that dilemma that we have.
Right. Now and just exactly what you're saying. Um, they, I'll just money talks. The
Hmm.
Ricketts can't keep crying broke. No one buys it.
No
Uh,
one cares.
exactly. Hey, you knew what you were getting into when you
Yeah.
went this route. And I see Debbie's not on here, but there's rumors that maybe Theo might be being considered for the Mets job.
Really?
But this is like there is such a blueprint for Theo FC. Comes in, turns it around, messes it up, and leaves.
All in the same tenure.
Right? And then he goes to the next one, turns it around, does
Messes it
amazing,
up and leaves.
messes it up, and then leaves.
Because you're right, the Mets, they have these newer owners with big pockets, just like the Cubs had, and so
Yep.
it would be.
And there's pieces there. Like the
Uh huh.
Mets have some pieces there.
Uh huh.
One of their problems is they got to get their pitchers healthy.
Right. Exactly.
That great pitching staff, but they have the pieces there, and they're probably missing a Theo Epstein. Now
Hmm.
they'll be in trouble in 6 years, but in the meantime, you might get a championship.
If you get a championship, who cares what happens in 6
Right.
years?
Right, you can deal with it.
We both know 6 years it passes really fast.
It does.
But just the same, it would be very interesting. I could see him doing something really weird and switching sports almost. Like I don't know, what if he went and headed up a football organization?
That's what someone brought up that he should run a football, but see, he can't buy and sell like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's a different type of thing.
Yeah.
Like trades aren't like a
Mm-hmm.
big thing all throughout the year the way they are in baseball. Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Very true. Well, so go Cubbies. So like moving a little bit further south to the White Sox, the playoff bound White Sox. They've been the playoff bound White Sox for a very long time, and almost just I think the magic number is
Was it 4?
4 now. I was gonna say 4 or 5.
I think it's. Let me see. I thought it was 4 at this point.
Did Cleveland lose today?
Let's see. Sox magic number.
Yeah.
No, that was 3 days ago. I think it's 4.
And
And of course, you can't find it anywhere. Huh?
yeah, the
Everything else.
magic number is such a weird number.
Oh, 4. Yeah.
Is it 4?
Yep.
Yeah, because I thought it was 5. Like
Yesterday or something.
Yeah, yesterday I thought it was 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get another win today over Texas.
Yep.
It was good to see Giolito out there, healthy. Had his good stuff going. 2 days ago, really good to see Dylan Cease bounce back from that really, really bad outing he had in I think it was against Boston. Him bouncing back, and that was something that he notoriously needed to work on, is being able to bounce back after whether it's a bad outing, a bad inning, a bad sequence, or whatever. It was a difficult thing for him. He would lose his focus. So starting to see that maturity in him and him keep it together, and he's definitely. I think that what the rotation in the playoffs is goes from a 5-man starting rotation to a 4-man generally.
Yeah.
And I think he's shored up that 4th spot. Dallas Keuchel did not help himself at all. He has gotten worse as the season has gone on. He's getting rocked earlier and
Yeah.
harder. He was looking like Arietta. Like you
Oh my
just
gosh.
like
Yeah.
and I'm starting to wonder, like, is he hurt? Is there something, like, how do you get this bad and then start getting progressively worse? It just seems like, I don't know, maybe he's fighting through an injury or trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But that's a tough one. But anyways,
He looks. He looks. It's a little rough with him.
yeah, yeah. But Big Dally, uh, he can have a seat. He
Now,
can
would you put him in the bullpen in case
no,
one of your starters? No, he'd just be off the roster.
no, only because I don't have faith that I can get a good inning out of him.
Mm. Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, he's getting touched up pretty early most of the time before he may settle down. But then
Mm.
by then it's like, oh well, you're 5 runs down now. So I'd have a hard time trusting him,
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
bringing him in. And we got some other guys who look ready, like Ronaldo Lopez. He's ready, like,
Hmm.
and he's worked on his stuff off year. He's gonna be coming at that, but he's gonna be ready. And
Okay.
obviously the other guys like Crochet. Um, I think what's his name? Right Tapera. He went down. I think on the IL. I don't know if he went on to the IL
Mhm.
or nothing, but he had some little nagging injury. But in any case, he'll be back. He can gobble up some innings. You know what I mean? Like I think we're looking good. Guys are getting rested. Guys are, um, hopefully,
Probably getting bored
yeah,
because it's like, let's go.
yeah, and,
When you've been in the league for so long, it's like, oh,
yeah, because you're like, all right, like, you just need that challenge, and there's nothing like October
yeah.
to
Now,
challenge you.
I know they won today, but they've been winning, losing, winning, losing. It would be nice for them to kind of go out on a little bit of a
Hot streak.
hot streak, because that seems to carry on for teams into the playoffs.
True. It Yeah, it didn't for those '05 Sox. Like, I mean, those '05s that they were at the very end, they like damn near gave it up, and then they got hot at the playoff start somehow. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I feel, yes, the
Hmm.
momentum usually, if they get hot soon, it should be trending upward, obviously,
Yeah.
not downward. And nothing like some sub 500 teams to hopefully get on the tear. They got Detroit for a 3-game set in Detroit. They're at Cleveland
Well.
for a long set. I think a couple of those might be some makeup
Mm.
games because they got five straight at Cleveland, including a double header starting out. So yeah, there's definitely a makeup game in there. Back home, and boy, does this team play so much better at home than on the
Yeah, they
road.
do.
Oh my goodness, that bothers me. You know, um, In any case, but it's nice that they end the season at home.
Right.
So if they're able to get on that streak that you mentioned, get that momentum going. They got 5 games at home against Cincinnati and Detroit. So that's a good setup for some, and at the same time, I give props to Tony. Um, you talk about a guy who's been there, and with a team who's had a lead comfortably for quite some time, and how do you keep them motivated and going? And I think one way is like when guys start getting these rests and they see the next man up is playing. Like you see your Gavin Sheets types of guys are coming in
Mhm.
and playing. It's like, okay, remember, like you're resting now, but like there's guys here that can play too.
Right.
So also hoping for some Andrew Vaughn sightings
Has
to
he slowed down some?
oh, definitely,
He's hit a rough
definitely.
patch.
You hit that rough patch. Yeah, rough patch by the way of that high fastball that he's just not able to lay off of or catch up to, I should say, and the low and away slider has become his kryptonite.
Mm,
Um, so we'll see, how he adjusts to that. That's what the big boys do. He didn't get much of a chance, in AAA because he
right.
got pulled in. He's just definitely like on the job training, so to speak. So, um, hopefully that works in his favor, and he's able to contribute in the postseason. So,
Mhm.
yeah, let's just like come on, let's get to it. Like, and
Yeah, it's who are you want to know like who are they playing? Right now, like the Blue Jays are so hot,
hmm
and
and the
so
Yankees went cold, right?
yeah, yep. So and the Sox, who would they play if it ended today?
Would it be
They,
Houston? I don't
and
know.
then because the Tampa Bay would wait for the winner of the wild card. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah,
it would they play Houston, they would start in Houston.
right. Which is, I think home field is not something that's going to happen. At
Right.
this point, guys got to just like lace them up, put on their big boy pants, and with
Yeah.
all of that jazz, and be ready to play. So I'm looking at the standings here. Yeah, wow. I'm looking at New York. They were so hot for a minute, and it's just like that AL East. Uh,
Yeah.
you know,
They just beat up on each other. And
yeah.
they're all doing something.
Hmm
I mean,
I
besides
just
Baltimore.
poor Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore's never. They are where they should be. Like
Yeah, they're probably like, can we get out of this division?
they're like, can
That's
we go to the Central
right. We're
because
never going to do well here. We're always going to,
yeah.
and look how long it took for Toronto
Hmm
to start now. They've always had some good moments, Toronto, but
Yeah, but they never been able to get over that hump,
yeah,
of Boston and New York, and then Tampa. Once it was what the 2000s, or really, I guess like the Joe Madden era Rays.
mhm, yeah,
I don't know anything about who the GM was, but they created a culture that at that point
mhm,
that has continued on even
yeah,
since.
and they don't even spend that much money.
I mean, their stadium's a dump.
So,
Like,
and I mean, they won't get people until they get to the playoffs. It's
right.
amazing that they're still allowed to keep a team.
I seriously, I mean, and I think kind of the same can be said about Baltimore at this point.
Like no one's going to all the Florida teams. It's
All the Florida
amazing
teams.
that they're still allowed to keep teams. They came out when the Marlins won the World Series, but then other than that, even when they were competitive, they don't come out. And so you want your teams to spend money, but no one's coming.
Very low ratings when the Florida teams are in the postseason. Very
Yeah.
very low ratings. Um, so let me ask you, if what do you think could carry? Let's say they didn't just disband the team. Say they relocated. Either one, either team. It could be either Florida team. It could be Baltimore. What city? could carry an MLB team better than where that current team is now?
Mm, they would probably need to come north or go west.
Mm-hmm.
Southern teams struggle. Like,
Mm-hmm.
think about Atlanta. Atlanta's mostly full if Sox or Cubs come there
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of Chicagoans in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pay attention to them when they're winning.
Right. It's just so
Uh,
damn hot down south to be
but
too damn hot to be
then,
playing baseball during the summer
but
down south.
then then they're better off than when it's snowing here in April. So what cities only have one team and could possibly take on a second? There's
Like
Oklahoma, maybe like Nebraska.
a couple of years ago, somebody would have said Chicago, but
Right.
we actually got to. uh,
Oklahoma might be able to take on it. Might do well. They're a sports town. I mean,
yeah,
right
they're
now
sports
college
town.
football, but then after that, they don't really. They do college football and college basketball, but
And
they might be ready for
the Thunder and
yeah.
Oklahoma, Oklahoma City. I think that's a
OKC. So you wouldn't call them Razor Marlins.
right. I think a name change would be in order, probably. Like
Yeah, let's see who else could probably.
like
Because Portland, maybe.
maybe Portland. What about Indiana?
That's right. They probably would.
I mean, not northern Indiana because that's all Cubs.
Oh yeah,
But if
but
you
yeah,
go down around the capital, Indianapolis,
that's true. Indianapolis. So there are some places that
yeah,
it can't be. At least for a couple of years, there's going to be excitement. Now, if they're bad forever, then people are like, "That's all right."
yeah.
But
I think Midwest is where you would
yeah,
probably go with another team, even if it was like the Carolinas. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
they could possibly do
I
it.
mean, considering how much AAA plays in
That's true.
those
Yeah.
regions, you would think that
Iowa might even be able to take on
I
one.
was thinking Iowa because they are baseball fans, they are
Yeah,
Cubs fans.
yeah. But if they finally got their own team, they would probably.
See, that's the thing is I don't think you would get them to convert. Like if you have some real Cubs fans that are in Iowa, I don't know that they would convert, but
Well,
maybe
I think maybe they would be happy to not have to drive so far to see some baseball.
possibly.
Professional,
But it
not.
seems like if you live in Iowa, you do want to get out of Iowa as much as possible.
I wonder what would Montana or Wyoming do with a baseball team?
I have no idea.
It might just be excitement because it's like this is new. What is
This is
this?
new. What are these boys out here doing?
Right, let's go see
You
about
see
this.
one of them are them boys Mexican or what are they?
I wish that MLB could mandate that every stadium had a retractable roof
Yeah, it's about time.
because then we wouldn't have all these rain out
Rain
makeups,
outs.
more even snow.
Yeah, because like April baseball is just a wash. Like for our teams, like I mean, it's ridiculous that they still have April baseball. You know,
And then they refused to do the schedule because they were like, well, the home teams, we don't want to take away their chance for money because they refused to do the schedule where they all stay in
right,
dome or
right.
west or south because
Yeah, because they can't make their money.
they're like, we don't want Chicago to wait till May to find
they lose a lot of money on
yeah.
concessions, a lot of jobs.
And then now that everyone has been in Florida or whatever in April, now comes September, they don't have as many. So, I know why they do it, but it's like more and more teams need to get some retractable roofs.
I think Texas has one now.
Because it gets so hot.
Because the ballpark at Arlington, it would get up to 115, 120 on that field. And it's like, man, this is because I think the new stadium is like elevated. So it's
Oh,
cooler. And yeah. Because, I mean, hell, even in Chavez Ravine, where Dodger Stadium is, like they don't really play day games because it gets
it
way
gets too
too
hot.
hot in the ravine to play during the day. So
Yeah, and if
mhm.
it's in Arizona, that's closed.
That's close. And I mean, talk about a garbage franchise as well.
Oh, but yes.
Uh,
Oh, it's
you
okay.
know,
And who's going to sign there? You're only going to sign there because you were my only option.
my only option. And I already got a home out here. I'm retiring in a year.
Right, because I'm not coming there and I've already won. So now it's just like, let me just keep collecting
Yeah.
some checks.
Because now I could just keep my kids where they are. Because,
Right.
whatever,
I'll have to move around for spring training,
Exactly
etc.
right.
But
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
who is going to? That's the only way anyone's going to Arizona.
Nobody is to retire.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think who we say Indianapolis and OKC,
Yeah,
and I would think maybe like a Charlotte.
they could try. They could at least bid. Oh,
There are a lot of there are a lot of states that have absolutely no professional sports teams. And it almost seems like some sort of mafia would run them out of some sort of hillbilly mafia would run out any uppity big leaguers trying to come in and like Virginia. You're not gonna get you know that's football. So I don't know.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, they probably won't do it, but it's soon. It is going to be time. Like remember when the Sox were talking about moving to Tampa? You think you don't have attendance now?
Sarasota.
Oh, Sarasota.
They were gonna be the Sarasota Sox.
Yeah, I was like, you think you don't have attendance now?
Yeah. Sarasota Sox. Yep. And then I don't know who it was, whoever finally greenlit building the new stadium. But yeah, I remember that. That would have been tragic. That would have been tragic.
Yes.
Um, well, so closing out with the White Sox, I'm looking at my starting four is going to be Big Lance Lynn. I'm either Gio or Rodon. Kind of depends with the 2 and 3 spot, and then Mr. Cease in that fourth hole. And Mr. Keiko, you just have like one of the best seats as a spectator. Real good seats, brother. Get these. How much you pay for these? Like, man, look,
You just
paying me to sit here. Right.
you can give some advice to people and keep them loose.
Cheerlead.
Yep.
All right. So, well, moving on to another winning team today. Today they won. Our beloved Chicago Bears. I thought Andy Dalton wouldn't get hurt until, week 3 or 4, but first quarter, second quarter.
Yeah, second.
Second quarter, week 2.
On a scramble.
So let me ask you. They won. Wouldn't give all the credit to Justin Fields. That was definitely more of a defensive win, which was nice to see. Which was nice to see, including an extra 7 points by the defense. Obviously they don't win the game without that 7. Now,
Right.
you know what I mean? So
Because you saw what happened when they tried to give it away.
exactly. So with that being said, I don't think it's so cut and dry. It's like, oh well, Justin Fields came in and saved the day, kind of the way Nick Foles looked in Indiana that week. It looked like he saved the day when he came in for Mitch, but
Oh,
that's
Atlanta. Wasn't it
Atlanta.
Atlanta?
I'm sorry. What did I say? But anyway,
Indiana. You
okay,
still
no, I'm
got
sorry.
Indiana
Yeah,
on your brain from baseball.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, Atlanta, and he came in, and I was all over. I'm like, threw 5 touchdowns. I'm like, let's go. Like, no.
You were like, we finally got a real
We finally got a
quarterback.
real quarterback. No, we
And then 2
don't.
weeks later, you were like, well,
Well,
maybe.
what's Mitch up to these days?
Right.
You
You
tell
want
us.
that
Right, right. How you feeling? Yeah,
kid?
yeah. So, with that being said, uh, I don't know what's the word on Dalton and the injury. Did you hear anything? I did not watch any. I was busy. I was on a ladder today. It's a year of first for me. I bought a ladder.
Oh,
That's yeah,
congratulations.
right. Exactly. Thank you. Like, wow, that's like big deal.
So Nagy, I gotta say his name right. Nagy
Nagy.
said that in an emergency, Dalton could have come back in. Dalton told everyone on the sidelines that he was okay.
Okay.
But I understand why they didn't bring him back in. He wasn't very mobile, and there are going to be times with this line that you're going to have to run for your life. That's
Hmm.
why what's his name
And we
got
saw
hurt.
that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and well, well, actually, when he got hurt, the line did well. Just no one got open. Another
Hmm.
theme for the team, but
Hmm.
I feel as though uh, Fields didn't get helped out by Allen Robinson. You want to get paid, you got to catch that ball. Went right through your arms. At first, when it first happened, you're like, oh, they must have tipped it. You saw the replay. No, they didn't.
Allen Robinson is all mouth at this point. And I will gladly drive him to the airport at seasons and in my '06. My trusted you don't get to but I have my own car to drive. No, you got to ride with this guy in his 2006 Honda. And
And then Mooney didn't catch one. But even with all that, while I like Justin Fields and I know he is the future, I can't say after this game that if Dalton is healthy next week, no matter what, Justin Fields should start.
exactly, I
Like what
agree.
you said, there was no coming in like, oh my God, now I see.
Yeah.
It was like, that's nice. Yeah, okay, Justin.
And we know Justin Fields is the better.
Yeah, but
Physically, he's the better
yes,
quarterback. We get that, but in keeping in mind with the plan of
yeah,
letting him, sit behind Andy, I don't think today was like I don't think there was anything there to scrap that plan.
no. But I mean, if they did, fine. But
Fine.
I think a lot of people thought when Andy, because I also heard some claps when Andy Dalton got hurt because they knew that Justin Fields was going to come in. But I also feel as though a lot of people left there like a little disappointed because they were hoping for this lights out performance because then there would be no way they could go back to Andy Dalton. So fans are going to be kind of like, oh, why didn't he have this lights out? Because I don't want to.
They wanted to see Nick Foles in week
Yes, like
3 of last year or whatever.
yeah, so they didn't see that lights out. So like
Mm-hmm.
there is room for Matt Nagy to still say that Andy Dalton's their starter next week. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, do I want to see Justin Fields and see him under real pressure because you also saw that and he realized, okay, the game's a little different in preseason than regular season. It probably did move a little slow in preseason because it's
It
preseason.
does. It's preseason.
But in the regular season, people were able to catch up to him sometimes.
Guys are running harder. You're like, this big fat dude can run this fast. Like, yeah, he's not gonna run that fast in preseason.
No,
But
they're not
now,
getting
week
ready to
2,
risk.
yeah, he's coming. He's
No.
coming for you. Yeah.
So it's nice that he's starting to get that experience. Like, oh, okay. While most of the time he'll be able to run away, people can't catch me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's not a given that you can run away.
And you'd swear I was the biggest Jimmy Graham fan on the world.
You are.
I'm not. But if this man has one skill, he was on my team, Jimmy Graham. But this man he is so skilled in the red zone. That one play, I think it was Justin Fields in the game. They bring in Jimmy Graham. You're thinking, okay, he was on 1-on-1. It was a bad, he had the height advantage and everything. And they went to Mooney, I think, and it was incomplete. And Jimmy Graham was open. I just don't understand the hesitancy for calling players for Jimmy Graham in the red zone. If he does nothing else, that's the one thing he can do.
I mean, and that's the only reason they bring him in the red zone is now they're bringing him in to be a decoy.
But why? If he can score,
it's like that's what the best players do. You know what they're going to do, and they can't be stopped.
And he usually, I mean, if you throw it to him 10 times, 8 of the times he's going to make the play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably on one of those he's interfered with. So now the ball's at the 1 yard line.
And worst case scenario, if you didn't make the catch, you'd have been where you ended up by throwing it to Mooney anyway. So
right. And it like stop. They always want to use that little Mooney. He's a little guy. I know he's strong, but he's little. They want to put him in positions that Jimmy Graham would be better off in.
That's your boy. That is your boy. And
Nagy, you want to be like, okay, I'm going to clear the slate with you. The offense looks the exact same.
Do not clear the slate with Matt Nagy. Here's the thing. Justin Fields, yes, he is the future. But that future does not involve Matt Nagy. Like this team, where do you see them going? Building up to getting back to being a real threat in the playoffs, not just making the playoffs and losing. We've got enough of that, but being a real threat, being a contender. I do not believe in my heart of hearts that involves Matt Nagy. He will not be here to see that. He will not take this team there. I do not think he is capable not because of, and sure, he hasn't always had the best players. You know what I mean? I get that. However, he just cannot get out of his own way.
He's had players good enough to do better than what he's done.
Thank you. Absolutely. Because what, you think you're the only one with O-line problems?
Right.
And even some of the fans, even some of the fans, talk about the O-line. It's like, yeah, but that's a thing around the league. Like there are very few teams who are being like, oh yeah, our O-line is great. Like that's.
And they weren't even that bad today.
They weren't that bad today.
No, there were times last week, but they technically weren't. Like even on the scrambles, it's because no one got open for Dalton. Dalton's scrambles were no one. He had so much time, and he was like, "Well, let me run."
Yeah. So first of all, I don't think you have great receivers. Like Allen Robinson is not a top 5 receiver in the league.
Really, has Allen Robinson taken the place of Khalil Mack now in your?
I think so. Talking about somebody who was over, but here's the thing with Mr. Mack. Khalil Mack is humble at least, and I guess when he got here, he already had his money. You know what I mean? But my issue with Robinson is his. With the agent of 16 more weeks left or 16 more games, like, dude, you're not all of that. And you got this stud of a quarterback. Why would you be even counting the days out of Chicago when you could be like harvesting a relationship with this quarterback?
Maybe the Bears said they didn't want to sign him anymore.
Well, I don't think they do want. I don't think they have any intention on re-signing Allen Robinson. But I still think you don't mail in a whole year. You know what I mean? You need those numbers at least for the next team. And who knows what happens if you make this work with Justin Fields? Who knows what the Bears do or don't do? But in any case, yes, you still need those numbers for your next contract. So, we let him slide with the bad shag haircut that he still has. I think.
Does he really?
I think so. I saw him like at the beginning, still had that shag, like
That's awful.
So I'm kind of he's in the doghouse.
I can tell.
Allen Robinson's in my doghouse.
I'm going to be honest
I'm
with you.
feeling. I know this is plunked, but I'm feeling very Chicago clubhouses right now.
Clubhouses, yeah. I agree with you, and to a point. And I've had Allen Robinson comes up huge. He comes up huge at times, but it is not like it is amazing or something that he has messed up plays for quarterbacks before as well. I know he hasn't played with the greatest quarterbacks, but he has dropped some passes.
Some balls.
He has had balls ripped away from him, and what's his name had like the 4 interceptions or whatever. 2 of them were ripped out of Allen Robinson's hands. Yeah. I think Nick Foles. He has dropped passes like that. He has run out of bounds before.
He likes to do his jump. When he's wide open and he jumps to catch it, like and it has to catch it in his groin.
Yeah, or he kicks the ball away. So he's not as perfect as he thinks he is, and as some fans who are like begging they got to sign him. Now, what I do understand is they figure he's better than who's their other person. Like, that's part of the problem. They don't have someone to take his place.
Oh, that's just such a Chicago thing that we deal with. Like, let's keep him. Why? He's not that good, but we got nobody else.
Because they don't go out and get anybody else.
But speaking of the clubhouse, we got a special guest coming in to join us on Plunked. We're bringing the band back together. Mr. T. Nick is in the building.
What up?
What's going on, man? How are you, sir?
I'm great, man.
Good to see you. Good to see you, man.
Okay.
Were you out there? He's like, I'm great. I'm not great. I'm just okay.
I'm only okay.
I just remembered I'm not that great.
I'm sorry.
I hope you get better.
I'm not that great because I didn't like the way the Bears won today. But the W is a W. W is a W. We'll take it.
We'll take it.
Not with the way we want, because we're not going to do well against Cleveland playing like we just played today.
Oh my God, those words. We're not going to do well against Cleveland. Like Cleveland, who? Cleveland, anybody. This is depressing.
Yeah, anything Chicago versus Cleveland. The Bears defense was better, but it was terrible plays that also helped make them be better. Yeah. That secondary is still that. I mean, Eddie Jackson looked better in the first half. But then later on, remember they were so good, they got the 3 straight interceptions, and then all of a sudden, Joe Burrow and his team figured out what to do, and they were having their way.
Well, one
secondary runs into each other.
Yes, I would love to ask Eddie, why do you think you need to tackle your own man? You can't even tackle the opponent. Why are you trying to tackle your own man?
Well, they said I need to work on my tackling. And so I was practicing tackling my mans all week. So when I saw him out there, I figured this is my shot. Like, okay, next question.
Totally, bro. He looked just like a loose cannon. And then hit his jersey you're wearing? It is. But I'm gonna burn I'm gonna burn this.
Are you wearing an Eddie Jackson jersey right now?
Hey,
that was 39. That was Eddie Jackson last year.
I bought this in 2018 when he actually was
good. Yeah.
See, you got to be careful. You gotta be careful buying those jerseys or those hot guys for the year because you don't know. Like before I buy a jersey, because I'm not even a jersey guy like that. But if I buy a jersey, I gotta be sure, like, all right, this is gonna be worth it. And even if you're not with the team, it's okay that I could still wear it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, and he ain't even 39 no more. So he like,
maybe he needs to go back to 39. Maybe that will help.
maybe, or
I
go back
honestly
to.
don't like defensive players with the single numbers. That's something about that annoys me.
Confused.
It looks like college.
Yeah, it's just annoying.
And I don't like college football, so
maybe that's why it annoys
me. So what next? The they're going to be wearing no socks and exposing their calves. I'm sorry.
Were you at the game, T. Nick?
Yeah, I was at the game. I was at the game, and I swore if I saw Eddie Jackson, if I saw him at the game after the game was over, oh my God, it would have been a problem. It would have been a problem. And then
you're like, fam, you got my jersey on, though.
I would have took this off in front of and ripped it.
How do you hate me so much? You wearing my jersey?
You love me at one point.
My name's Jackson too.
You want this shit back? You can have it.
And then you can tell like you need to wear this number again.
Or maybe this will help you.
You're on punishment. You can't wear 4 until you do better.
Right.
And Danny Davis number 6. That's gonna look crazy too.
Yeah.
He has the cereal out. He has the cereal.
Where is that sold?
Bold. What's it called?
Exclusively at Mariano's. It's called Bojacks. And I'm like, man, maybe you should make that full time because you ain't making package. Just make cereal.
That's like, didn't they have Rizzo's?
Did they?
Yeah, there were some at Jewel. Rizzo's was his cereal.
Oh my God. That's all sounds
serious.
terrible.
I guess Eddie Jackson must have been the only one who agreed to the cereal. Because how do you choose him out of all your options on the Bears to create a cereal?
He had he's got a young agent who, just like okay, picture this.
Montgomery-O's. I'd rather David Montgomery-O's.
Probably would eat those. I probably eat those.
David Berry's, something.
The problem with Eddie's cereal is not to tackle your hunger.
That's not going to tackle your hunger. You'll leave there still hungry. It's just empty cereal, empty oats.
Yeah,
that was
no sugar. They like these supposed to be frosted. Ain't no damn frosting on these oats. Oh, dry oats.
Right.
Eddie Jackson with the dry oats.
He's terrible, man. And
but
what helped them was the turnovers. Turnovers, and then Justin Fields being able to use his legs to to run that first down.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah.
That kind of sealed the game, right?
Sealed the game.
Right.
Because if he didn't, because it was that was third down, right? Because if he wouldn't have gotten that, the Bengals were going to score. If they would have gotten it back.
Yeah, I believe so too. Because their momentum, the momentum, they still had all the momentum.
It changed. It totally shifted.
Mm-hmm.
Man, but I knew the Boo Birds were gonna come out as soon as Justin Fields made a mistake. Boo Birds were gonna come out, either him or Andy Dalton. But I am kind of pleased that Andy Dalton was hurt. And Justin Fields played like the rest of the game. I was pleased with that. I knew I kind of had a feeling Justin Fields was going to give one up, which he did when they should not have even been throwing the ball in the first place. Remember in the fourth quarter with about 4 minutes left, they felt like they had to throw a little cross pattern, and it got intercepted. There's no reason that ball should have been in the air. But you all know Nagy's going to be Nagy. He's going to make some of the dumbest play calls at the most inopportune times. That's what he does.
And he still won't roll them out. Like, what is with him with not rolling the quarterbacks Roll him out. He throws well on the run.
And of all quarterbacks to roll out, like Nagy, he wants to be the star. He wants to be the star. He wants to be, he wants to be the man. Not the quarterback, not the players.
Be a star when his team wins, you're gonna be a star.
He's like, no, I don't want it like that. I want them to be stars because of me.
So the atmosphere was good, T-Nick.
What's that?
The atmosphere at the game was good.
Atmosphere was great. Everybody wants to see Justin Fields do well. Mm-hmm. So it was like electric. Everybody was cheering and all that. But like I said, as soon as Justin Fields made a mistake, you heard a little bit of boo birds, not a whole lot. Mm-hmm. But for Andy Dalton, you heard a lot of boo birds.
Mm-hmm. So now let me ask you this, Tina. I think it's safe to say Dalton will be healthy for week 3
against Cleveland. Yep.
In spite of that, do you think you saw, and you got the vibe of the fans and the energy? Not to say that always matters in the decision making, but do you think that they go back and stick with their plan and start Dalton next week, or do you feel like the energy that Justin brought out and what you saw him do on the field was enough to say no, just give him the keys?
I think I actually think they should go ahead and let Dalton start the game again, because I think they should kind of ease Fields in. Mm-hmm. I think Fields should get a lot of playing time like he did today. But go ahead and let Dalton start for aesthetic purposes. Let Dalton start. Let him shit. Maybe he'll light it up. Mm-hmm. But I doubt it. I doubt he'll light it up.
Of course.
But Justin Fields spin. Let him do his thing. That's what they need to do. But since we pay Andy Dalton all that money, aesthetically it'll look good. Just let him start.
Mm-hmm. Let him start.
Play some football.
Right. let him play the first 3 minutes.
Right.
Like
what's also getting on my nerves? Like, I don't know Andy Dalton that well, but from everything we've heard, he's a very nice guy. I really wish that the network would stop showing him congratulating Justin Fields. What do you think he's going to do on the sidelines? Start throwing the clipboard all over the place? Oh, he's being so supportive. What's he supposed to do? Like, I wish that storyline, and they do it with, you see that on any team when they have like their heir apparent is there or whatever. What are they supposed to do? Like, don't talk to me until you see Andy Dalton cussing out, ripping up stuff.
I want to see him break a clipboard over his head.
Elbowing Justin Fields when he comes off the field, or tripping him. It's ACL.
He's tripping him.
Motherfucker, take your job.
Right. I want you to get the camera on him giving Justin Fields the hot foot.
Yeah.
Like an old-fashioned Tom and Jerry, a whole book of matches along Justin Fields' toes that he somehow doesn't feel. His exposed toes and Dalton.
Show me Dalton when he's doing that. I know Dalton's going to support him. I mean,
he's a professional.
And
he's a vet.
I don't care about that storyline.
Yeah.
But when he goes home to his wife, this just
if someone took a meme of Andy Dalton and Nick Foles standing together talking and like caption this folder, they're like, you see this? So now I told everybody I'm fine. They're not gonna put me back in, and then Nick Foles like, that's what they did to me last year.
Right. I was fine to play.
Right. And Andy Dalton said, I think you kind of messing up yourself. I'm talking about me now, Nick. This is me.
He's like, yeah, but I see some parallels here. Like, shut up, Nick.
Just hold the clipboard and shut
hold
up.
the clipboard. I need to call
Right.
somebody else up.
And then then Justin does well. They're like, "Oh, you better go cheer." Oh, hey, Justin!
Yeah.
High
Oh, here come the camera. Here come the camera. All right, there you go. He's like, oh, I love it.
Oh gosh! And you know another thing I was happy about that Nagy finally didn't switch out David Montgomery so quick with the Damian Williams.
Yeah.
Now David wasn't as good as he was the first week, but at least David didn't run once, and now we see Damian Williams.
Right. I was not happy with that against the Rams. You know,
Yeah.
we said this in our pod one time that Nagy is the king of, okay, yeah, this is working. Okay, now stop it. Don't do it anymore. So
yes,
he is the king of that. So today it was a little to not see Damian Williams so much, but it was still a little too much for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like Damian Williams is good for giving David a blow, but then that's it.
But that's
Pause.
it.
Yeah.
Pause. But that's it. That's
Oh,
it.
I was like, yeah, give him a pause. Yeah. Oh, you mean that kind of pause? Okay. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that's all. But and you're right. You know, Matt Nagy just refuses for happiness. It's like, oh wait, this is working. We're happy. We're excited. It's time for me
the hot foot.
We need a screeching halt to our progression.
All of this progression. I do not like how this is going.
I am all about regression. Okay?
We are right.
I am a regressor.
We're trending upward? What?
Oh no. Happiness. Oh no. Cheering.
No.
20 yards. It is time for a timeout. And then we're gonna come out the timeout and have a false start.
And then we're gonna throw for fourth and third. 4th and 3 yards.
4th and 3rd, we're going to throw, or 4th and 11, we're going to run it, or we're just.
And then that's like, Nagy. That's a Nagy
4th
stamp.
and like Nagy, stop 4th and like send your punter out.
Yeah,
because I haven't seen you convert any of these on any kind of.
They didn't do it today.
Yeah.
Now it was okay. They went for it today, but.
No, I only say it's not only because you know who's doing it. Like a different team, a different coach, it would have been okay. But because it was Nagy with the Bears doing it, it's like this is not okay. You like 4th and 1, like no, because he's not gonna call the right play.
No, he's not. And I don't understand how they come out of timeouts and have false starts. How do you still not know your snap count? I don't understand. And someone needs to teach Justin Fields, you can't move. You can't start stepping back.
Don't flinch. Do not.
He did it twice. He started stepping back. He was kind of confused. Like, what? Yeah, that's a false start here.
Like,
so rumor was the center farted. Rumor was the center farted. That's why Justin Fields flipped like.
He's like, ooh.
I'm like, he must
whistle. He's like, what?
If he flinched, that's in a sharded. He didn't fart.
I
can't remember. Justin was like, oh Lord, what the hell? Because
I jump on the shark.
After the play, Justin Fields was mad and talking to people.
Oh, like it was something not on him.
Yes. Like,
it was not me.
But before we wrap it up, guys, I don't want to necessarily have the last word, but I do want to mention there was 3 things when I was watching the Clubhouse. Was it Tuesday, T-Nick? There was 3 things. It was Eddie Jackson, Khalil Mack, and I think JB mentioned Chris Conte.
He did.
So, and I'm like losing my mind. And I'm like, Because he's like, Chris Conti, he would have never got burned. I'm like, what? I'm like, my
Chris,
head is exploding. I'm like, Chris Conti.
Chris Conti.
he
I'm
was the
like,
master. He was the master of trying to play catch up.
of playing catch up.
Wait
I'm
a
like,
minute. And JB usually has his facts straight. What was up with that one?
I don't know.
I was like, Chris Conti, like, how was this? How are you letting this slide?
Because he has so much infamous. He has infamous.
He's got
blown
highlights of blown coverage. I mean, do I need to mention what was it, the 2013? When was it, the last game of the year? Green Bay, winner goes to the playoffs. Rodgers throws the ball to Jordy Nelson. Who's chasing him? Chris Conti is chasing him.
You know, I think
Look at the replay. You saw him run right past Chris Conti.
I think my boy got he was so mesmerized by Major Wright that was on the show the other day.
Yeah, he was Randall Cobb.
Nice about Chris.
And don't get me wrong, this was in no way, this wasn't to call him out. It was just like, it made me want to talk about Chris Conti again.
Yeah.
And how much stress he put on my heart over the years.
Yeah.
Eddie Jackson, we've talked a lot about him. I think if anybody was, if you talk about overrated players, Eddie Jackson. Sorry. It was just, he was a great guy in a system by Vic Fangio. And Vic Fangio said, you know what? You just roam and look for INTs. Like, this is your safety now. Usually safety got to be able to tackle. He's like, no, we got strong guys. We don't think they're even going to make them to you. We'd rather have you floating free looking for those picks. And that he gave him a license to do that. And you saw what he did that year that T-Nick bought the jersey. He wasn't asked to be just really a safety. You know what I mean? Like, because when you think about amazing safeties that we've seen, with the Bears, I mean, obviously you think about Gary Fenton, but even Mike Brown. Mike Brown loved to hit. He loved contact. Eddie Jackson does not like contact. He does not like to hit or get hit. He doesn't like tackling. That it's more than him not knowing how to tackle. He doesn't like that type of physicality. And this is the safety, who's supposed to be physical.
Yeah. Hard hitters.
Supposed to be a hard hitter. Gary Fitz, the hitman. You know what I mean? Double D. Durson was a safety, wasn't he?
Yep.
Eddie Jackson does not like that contact. He don't like to hit. And that's and he never did, even in 18. But because he got so many INTs, you kind of
we overlooked it. Since he
overlooked it.
I think coming out of college, and everyone knew he wasn't a tackler.
He wasn't a tackler coming out of college. People knew it, but he got put in the system with Fangio, who knew it, and said, "Okay, what are you good at?" And props to Fangio for, instead of saying, "Well, that's what you're good at," but no, we're going to dictate what you're good.
Oh, so you mean not like Nagy?
Not like Nagy playing to a player's strength, just like, nope, well, what my playbook says, you need to be good at this. So this is what, so Fangio leaves now. Pagano comes in. He pulls Eddie Jackson a little bit further back. She don't let him play out front so much and free and go out the. Now he's exposed. Now you got to tackle.
Exposed. And it doesn't help. It doesn't help that we weren't getting any pressure up front. Now you're really exposed.
And so that leads me into my third person, Mr. Khalil Mack. We didn't. Eddie Jackson, yeah, he didn't need to tackle when you had Khalil Mack being Khalil Mack and Leonard Floyd having a career year supporting Khalil Mack. You didn't need to be able to tackle. Now, Khalil Mack got a year older. He's double teamed. No, he's not.
Nah, yeah, you saw today. He
He's
wasn't
not.
always double team.
Even 2 years ago, he wasn't always double teamed. People kept saying that because I think that was a thing to say. Sorry, no offense to anyone saying it, but I'm like, that nigga is singly covered and getting stopped, and is a step slow and not getting there. And then on top of it, then Leonard Floyd had a bad year. So then it's exposed even more. And then they bring in what's his name?
Waste.
Robert
Waste, right? A waste of a jersey last year.
Oh, no, this today.
We got a Robert Quinn signing today. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
And
Now
Khalil
he's
Mack.
into hiding.
What'd you say?
I said he's probably gonna go back into hiding now.
He's like, I earned my money for the year.
Because remember, that's what he did last year? He got that sack in the first game.
And we was
He's
like,
a
boom,
Boricua.
Robert Quinn. It was like, nope.
He's
I'm
what?
done.
He's a Boricua. Did y'all know that? He Puerto Rican.
No, I didn't know.
Oh,
Robert
yes,
Quinn was Puerto
yes.
Rican. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So is that why he's? Is that why you can't get to the quarterback?
Like, Boricua's don't get to the where are we going? Or was that
that was just about
that's just a random fact.
Random
Fun
fact.
fact.
about Robert
Fun
Quinn.
fact. Fun
I mean,
fact.
that's all we really can have now are random facts because, like you
Yeah.
said, that may be his only sack for a few games. I think he got one last year, the first game and the last game.
He went into hiding after he got
14 full games or nothing.
right. But you earning that paycheck, dog.
And so yeah. So that's where we are. That's where we are.
I'm starting to believe a little bit about the Khalil Mack is beyond his. He's getting past his time.
He was past it after that first year.
I know, but I'm still holding on.
I was too. I was still holding on.
You let go last year. You were not holding on last year.
But that was year 3.
Oh, okay.
So year 1, he was the man. Second year, I was like, But we weren't on this show. We weren't doing the show. But still on the site, on the Chicago Clubhouse Facebook page, I was questioning Khalil Mack. Not hard. His second year, but he definitely was. He definitely was not making the noise he was making that second year. And then third year, last year, when we first did the Clubhouse, it was like, well, yeah, I mean, all right, he is what he is.
He still kind of makes his presence felt, though. People still, they game plan for him.
Yeah, they do game plan for him.
They
based off of reputation. I mean, they game plan based off of reputation. So
yeah.
And so that's something.
Yeah, that is something.
That's
you're
something.
Kind of alluding to that's not enough for the
but
money.
That ain't a sack.
Right.
He got sacked today.
Oh, Kristen.
He can get one each game. He'll have 16 by the end of the year.
Well, I'll be damned if it was that easy. Then sign me up. Well, goddamn.
I predict Neil. I was like, call him Neil Mack.
You might as well. Neil Mack.
Neil Mack will have a sack next week.
All right. I hope you're right.
I
don't
too.
like when I badmouth our players. I hope I'm wrong, but
I mean, I'm probably wrong too. But I'm just gonna.
I'm too good at talking about people being bad. I got a good.
Probably will not have a sack, but I'm putting. They say put stuff in the universe, although it's always the exact
That
opposite
doesn't
for
work
me.
either.
Yeah, it's exact opposite for me. So
That doesn't work either. Put it out in the universe, it'll happen. No, it won't.
it happens for some people. Now I'm not that person.
Not really.
Sometimes it does happen.
Stuff
Oh,
happens.
you're not a believer, Bucks.
Stuff happens or it doesn't. Sometimes people put it in the universe and it happens. But if they hadn't put it in the universe, it still would have happened. It's like I could predict the game, the winner or loser.
You just want to let people have their stuff, Bucks. Just let people have their universe.
Sorry. I'm trying to bring everybody back down to earth.
Some people need the universe. Let them have it.
But earth is where it's at. That's
Eddie Jackson. First, he need more than the universe.
He needs to go back to Alabama. Where are you from?
Alabama.
He needs his number one fan, T. Nick, to root for him, to be behind him.
Speaking of number one fan, and I got to run after this, but Corduroy.
Oh, he did pretty well today in the Atlanta game.
I didn't get to talk to. We haven't talked to T. Nick like about Bears this year, but like,
yeah, that's true.
Are you okay?
I was
now that's who I would imagine you'd have gotten a jersey of.
They didn't sign him, man, and they let him go to Atlanta. My feelings were hurt because I thought he was the ultimate Swiss Army knife. Ultimate Army knife.
Same.
Yeah.
For a team with so many holes, you need utility guys.
And I mean, it's good for your field position. I didn't understand. I wasn't as big a fan as you, T. Nick. I was a fan, but I didn't understand why he wasn't resigned.
And look how their special teams are.
Yeah, their special teams not even that good. Khalil
Herbert, I'm okay letting a guy go if you got his replacement lined up.
Yeah,
like you letting him go just to let him go.
So they just always need touchbacks. I don't even want to risk it.
Yeah. All right. Well, sorry to end on such a down note.
Do you guys have anyone special this week, T-Nick?
Well, I have not heard back from him, but we're supposed to have Ahmad Merritt. He played in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Mm-hmm. Supposed to come on Tuesday, but I have not heard back from him.
You know how it is. They show up Tuesday and
right.
Like, oh yeah, I'm good. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
There's still hope.
Well, it was nice having this little reunion.
This is always fun.
This was great. Man. Man. Y'all need to come back on the pod.
Well, you just let us know, like, kind of like, and organize it, or like when we do try to get on, you could like let us in instead of having me sitting in the green.
And I was listening to that show. I was like, "Whoo!" Emilio's probably like, "If you don't let me in."
I wasn't paying attention to the.
That doesn't make me feel better. I didn't even notice you, dog. We had just talked like right before the show started.
I didn't even know you were coming on, Emilio.
Right. I'm like, bro, you just sent me the link, bro. Was like, you coming? I'm like, yeah. And I was like, okay, this time, like, yeah. And
okay, so
Nick's such a busy man.
Let me explain myself.
Okay.
AB is our producer. Mm-hmm. So he has the StreamYard too. And he sees everything. Right. So I am engaging with the guests. So I did not see.
Understood.
But had I seen, I would have.
Because I heard you mention that. That was weird because I even heard you mention it. Like, we're gonna get these tickets away, blah blah. So I'm like, okay, here we go.
So if you were in, AB would let you in. but he did not do that. So, but it's my fault. It's my fault. I wasn't paying attention because both of us have the StreamYard. Me and AB, we both have the StreamYard.
So why'd you even bring AB into it? Like you didn't have to.
He's just messing with you, TJ. Let me explain myself. Well, yeah, I'll be able to come on some of your shows sometimes.
Just
okay.
And she didn't say little. Yeah, I come on your little show. You're like, what do you mean little show? You started the show. How you gonna call it little?
Who did us like that? Someone did us like that before.
I don't remember.
But yeah, we had a whole segment.
About your little podcast.
What's in my cousin? She said your little podcast.
I think it was it was someone that you knew.
Yeah.
Who said little, and then we were like, "That's the ultimate disrespect." If someone says you're little,
passive aggressive.
It was my cousin.
I see you got your little nice house.
Right.
Oh, it's a house. How is that?
Bernard said that. Remember, he was on the phone with somebody else. He said, "Yeah, I'm doing this little podcast."
Oh yeah. Hold on, I'm doing this little podcast, but I feel like he's. Yeah,
but there was someone before Bernard.
There was somebody before, but we was cracking up
because Bernard did what we had the whole conversation about.
My cousin first said it. Bernard said it.
And when Bernard said it, we were like, "Oh, there you go."
Yep. Us be twice.
Yeah, podcast.
Now, he was all in the 7-Eleven bathroom.
He was treated like it was that little podcast.
Like, you need to put us on hold or what? Like, you don't have to take us in here with you. Buy your snacks, sir. Like, it seems just more inconveniencing to him. Just like I'm sorry because we're invading what you're doing here. Anyway, this was great, guys. So if anybody hung on for the reunion and this good Bears talk, thank you all. This is Plunked. This is the baseball podcast where we talk about two teams, one great city, but we also got to talk about them Bears because there's nothing like football season. There's nothing like Bear football, win or lose. So, and that's when the city is completely united. Yeah, and the good and bad, mostly the bad. I mean, most of our lives anyway.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So until next week.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Peace.